I guess I'm going to just ask, would you like the short version or do you want the long version? Short? Okay. Okay. Well, we're still going to go with the time, so it just depends on how much detail I get into. I'm originally from Wisconsin. I grew up in the Milwaukee area. A cradle Catholic, basically a product of public schools. Received the sacraments, First Communion, confirmation, all that. Went through the whole system. Graduated from high school and joined the Army. And started off as in corrections in the Army. And essentially, once I graduated from high school, I was like the majority of people. There was no, like, the faith kind of, fell off for me, the faith kind of fell off the front burner, if you will. And so I was real involved with, pursuing my, my trade, if you will, and with the goal of I'll do a 3-year enlistment and then I'll go to college, get a degree, and all that stuff. Well, end up making a long story short with my career in the Army is liked what I was doing and moved up through the ranks and retired after 21 years. But what I want to do is I'm going to kind of go my career in the Army to the year of 2000. Year of 2000, my father passed away. At that time, that's what brought me back to the church, honestly. And even before that, I knew he was ill. Now I remember watching. I don't know if anybody has seen this here, but I was watching like the Mass on television. Does anybody know what I'm talking about?
These was Bishop Frank J. Sheen. I'll never forget it on TV.
So I remember watching a Mass, and I think it was, if I remember right, I think it was like the Christmas, like the midnight Mass. So I was watching it, and I was sitting there, I was thinking, just something came to me like, come back to the church. Well, at that time I lived in Michigan, so I was finishing up my work there and moved to Fort Knox. And when I got to Fort Knox, I had more time on my hands to explore my religion. So essentially I went through like the RCIA program, like what we're doing right now, kind of all over again, because I didn't really know my faith. So I went through it 1 year, and then the following year, was a team member, so was back and was on a team. Then the third year that I was there, then I was doing some teaching, and I remember the priest that was there, priest chaplain. He said, you're so involved, in here in the parish, a military parish. Have you ever thought about becoming a priest? So this was 2003, and I said, Father, I'm too old. He wants probably some young guy right out of college. I think I'm too old. He's like, no, you think about it. So I said, okay, yeah, I would. But, again, still having my career in the Army, doing what I was doing. I was a recruiter. So I was a recruiter, and then at that time, when I was in Fort Knox, I worked on what we call the Inspector General team. So we went out and evaluated the different organizations here in the U.S. So this is 2003. So another chaplain, they have a rotation. So like every 3 years, the new chaplain rotates in. So the new chaplain rotates in. Still really involved in the church, not only with RCIA, but doing a lot of things, lecturing, went through some liturgy courses at the Archdiocese of Louisville. Well, he saw that and he said the same thing. Have you ever thought about, the priesthood? And I said, geez, Father, I'm probably too old. Probably somebody younger again, right? And, no. So now this is the second priest that said that. I said, okay, well, I'll think about it. So it's 2004, 2003, 2004. 2005, I retired. Then I went to work in civil service. So I was essentially doing the same job that I did when I was a green suiter, when I was in the Army, except I was a civilian now. doing the same job in recruiting. The next priest comes in, says the same thing. So God was knocking once, knocked twice, and he knocked 3 times. And then that got me thinking, you know what? Maybe there's something to this. So I said, you know what I'm going to do is I'm not going to make any hasty decisions. I'm going to put this to prayer, but you know what? I'm going to put this on the back burner. Is this my initiative or is this really God's initiative? So that was kind of a test. So from 2006, or no, 2005 to 2006, I did like a kind of a personal discernment. And I said to myself, I made a promise that if I felt this way a year from now, so if I felt this way in like August of 2006, then I'll approach the diocese. You know, the diocese may say, oh, you're too old, you know, maybe, you know, can't use you or whatever. So I approached the diocese, and long discussion with the vocation director in Louisville. He said, you know what, okay, well, this is what we're going to do. We're going to put you on another year of discernment. So I was like, oh, okay. So I went on another year of discernment. So about halfway through, about December, because we had in the vocation office, they have what they call, at least in Louisville, they have a Men in Black program. So we met like once a month with the vocation director of guys that are thinking about it. And so like about December, they said, you know what, we discerned for you to fill out an application. So I filled out the application. And then really, you know, I still was going to my monthly meetings and didn't really hear anything until like June. And then, or no, I didn't hear anything until like April. And they said, okay, we've discerned now for you, you got to take your physical exam, you have to take your mental, psychological testing and all that. So I did all that and I didn't really hear anything. And then it was June. And then I get a phone call. And they said, Archbishop Kelly, that was the Archbishop at the time, he wants to meet with you. Okay, so did that and showed up to his office and he goes through, he's like, you know, wow, I'm looking at, you know, you got a real impressive record, you know, your military service, blah, blah, blah. And so he kind of slides my file off to the side. He says, we're going to accept you. Where do you want to go to school? And I was like, wow. I don't know, Your Excellency, you tell me where you want me to go, because I don't know. And they said, we're going to send you to St. Mary's. And I'll tell you that once I heard the news, I got back to, you know, went back to work because I still had a couple months before, in August, before I'd have to, you know, come here. The next day at my office, here I get a phone call for a job that I applied to like a couple years back. And they said, congratulations, we've selected you for this position, and right now we're just kind of putting the final touches on sending you, you know, getting a school date and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, you know what, let me call you back. And I like, wait a minute, what, you know, how can this be? I called back, I said, you know what, offer a job to somebody else. And I can tell you that ever since I entered, so this was 2007, ever since I've entered, every year I've had such diverse experiences. I've dealt with such diverse people, and I can't imagine being anywhere else. So I don't know if any of that makes any sense at all, but I guess what they say, when you know you're in the right vocation, you know it feels right. And it's even more than feeling right, you're in the right place. And I'll tell you, especially when I left the Army and I became a civilian, there's a certain culture that you have when you're a soldier that I didn't have when I was a civilian, and that I've gotten again with the priesthood, because it's the same story, that brotherhood, that camaraderie, if you will, that's where I'm at. So I've been here, this is my 5th year.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And